Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleep and dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. This evening, I'm going to be taking a look at the issue of sleep paralysis. And let me just set the scene for you to give you an idea of what sleep paralysis is about. Just imagine it. You wake up in the middle of the night and there's this unearthly figure with fangs and blood dripping from its fangs. And you try to scream, but you can't. You can't move. If this has ever happened to you, this has probably been was an incident of sleep paralysis, which is the inability to move or speak upon falling asleep or awakening, and is often coupled with hallucinations of some kind. Statistically, up to as many as 4 out of every 10 people may have had this experience of sleep paralysis. It's a common condition, and it was first it's understood to be noticed in teenagers, but anyone of any age can suffer from it. Sleep paralysis may even run in families. But there are other factors that may be involved, including just plain lack of sleep, changes in your sleep schedule, mental conditions such as bipolar disorder or stress related disorders. Sleeping on your back maybe could be an issue. Other sleep problems such as narcolepsy, which is where you just suddenly fall asleep, or getting leg cramps at night. Use of certain medications, such as the medication that's used for ADHD, may can also be the culprit, or substance abuse of some kind. But despite the prevalence of the problem, it's largely for many years remained a mystery as to why it is and how it is and what happens. But over the past centuries, cultures across the world have attributed all kinds of properties to these experiences, including black magic, mythical monsters, and even paranormal activity. The hallucinations that happen during sleep paralysis, which often involve seeing ghostly intruders or something or sensing them, are have been interpreted differently around the world. In fact, in Egypt, for example, paralysis is often thought to be provoked by a jinn or a genie. And in Italy, some think that it's an assault by something called the pandafece, a figure which is a malevolent figure, which can be a malevolent witch or a terrifying cat or something. In other places, such as South Africa, they believe that these experiences are caused by black magic. And in Turkey, there are also mysterious spirit-like creatures that cause it. However, not everybody subscribes to such views. In Denmark, for example, they have a less magical explanation. They just attribute the sleep paralysis to some physiological factors such as stress. It's not surprising, therefore, that the people who attribute some kind of outside force to creating these experiences seem to experience them more than people who do not. So, for example, people in Egypt suffer with sleep paralysis much more than people, say, in Denmark. But let's backtrack a little bit. What exactly happens during sleep paralysis? Well, if you look at the brain, it has sort of an off switch of sorts, which are actually some neurochemicals that run through the brain that moves you between sleeping and wakefulness. but sometimes that switch, somebody falls asleep at the switch and it doesn't work. And you inadvertently wake up while your body is still asleep. So your brain is awake, but your body isn't. So it leaves you in this in between state where you can't move or speak, but your mind is actually active. So what happens during sleep paralysis essentially is that the dream will come alive right before your eyes, fangs and all. It's believed that sleep paralysis is caused by what appears to be just a basic brain glitch between the interface between wakefulness and REM sleep. During REM sleep, dreams are very intensive and lifelike. And in order to prevent these dreams from being acted out, the body has this off switch to keep the body motionless so that you don't hurt yourself or anyone else. But nevertheless, despite the scientific explanations as to why sleep paralysis occurs, um, beliefs have a major impact on how people experience them, or even if they experience them. So they're going back to the different countries and different cultures. Again, the where there were beliefs that there is some kind of outside force that's causing the sleep paralysis, the episodes are more frequent and they last longer. Um, and it also appears from research that the more people fear sleep paralysis, the more they experience it. So it sets up this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. Um, Anxiety and stress can predispose people to an attack so that they fear it even more and they bring about the very thing that they're afraid of. And there also evidence to show from research that the people who believe that sleep paralysis is due to some kind of malevolent or supernatural force are also more likely to actually have hallucinations during the attack, sensing or seeing a ghostly kind of presence. There are new findings, however, that raise the possibility that sleep paralysis, if accompanied by certain beliefs, is not just frightening, but actually traumatizing. The effects can linger long after the sleep paralysis is dissipated. And those who have these visual hallucinations are even at greater risk of they having a negative impact from the experience. Another study in Italy actually showed that fear during sleep paralysis and fear of dying from an attack of sleep paralysis was actually linked to trauma and depressive symptoms. So you could say that for those who are suffering with sleep paralysis, sleep is not the normal escape from reality. And for some, it can actually provoke some kind of mental disorder. But are there any treatments that can be used to improve the situation with sleep paralysis? There are some, but the first thing that needs to be done is that uh, a conversation should be had with your doctor to identify and address any underlying problems that may be occurring, that are contributing to these attacks and to their severity. For example, it's something like narcolepsy or sleep apnea could be underlying causes for these episodes. There isn't much evidence, scientific evidence, about the best treatment for sleep paralysis. While a lot of people don't even know that this is a common problem, and so they may see themselves as just being crazy or just feel ashamed and won't talk about it. But it's important to actually talk to a doctor to realize that it is a normal thing. It is not something unusual. It doesn't make you crazy or off balance, it means that there's a sleep problem that needs to be resolved. But because of the connection between sleep paralysis and sleeping problems in general, improving your sleep habits can is often the best way to prevent sleep paralysis. I mean, simple things that we know but perhaps don't practice. It means like going to bed at the same time, following a regular sleep schedule, and even on the weekends, maintaining that regular schedule. Making sure your bedroom has limited light and noise in it, and keep the Wi-Fi away. Um, Obvious things like reducing alcohol and caffeine, particularly as in the evening, which will because it will make it harder to fall asleep. And again, I can't stress this enough. Put away the Wi-Fi. Move all of that stuff out of your bedroom. The blue light interferes with melatonin and serotonin production anyway, which are important for sleep. The constant pinging will keep you awake anyway. And the radiation is just not healthy. So put it in the next room or two rooms away. And that can also help reduce the incidence of sleep paralysis. There's also interventions such as cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, which is specifically for insomnia. Couldn't get the word out. But the cognitive behavioral therapy can be great for some people. It works a treat because it helps on the people to look at their thought processes and change the way they think. It works beautifully for some, not so well for others. But there is a specific program in CBT specifically for insomnia, which can you can perhaps ask a doctor for a reference or perhaps seek someone out on your own. But it would be helpful to actually have a referral. There are also some medications that can repress or suppress rather REM sleep, and this may help to stop sleep paralysis. But these, as with everything, these medications can have side effects and may cause um, a a rebound in REM sleep when someone stops taking them. So it there could cause cascade into further sleep problems by taking the medication. So it's always essential to talk to a doctor about such matters to make sure that the potential benefits outweigh any downsides. So there you have it. If you're seeing bogeymen and when suddenly in your room when you wake up, you might be experiencing sleep paralysis. And there are certain things you can do that can help. If you'd like more advice and suggestions, please feel free to contact me. I'm happy to share some tips and, if necessary, give you some information with regard to referrals. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening and start to the week, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.